because then it like for me specifically, I see the trailers a lot in the theaters, and then I'm waiting for that last shot to come, and then I know it's the last shot. I'm like, well, that's stupid.
That reminds me, since we're talking about the trailer, we've talked about trailers. We've seen so many movies and we've seen so many trailers. It's kind of getting to the point where it's really annoying at this point, where it's like you're just sitting there. Oh yeah, that trailer again. Oh yeah, she's gonna die. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we've seen this one before. Hey, but that Jackass trailer gets me every time.
Fair enough. That's the only trailer where I give it a pass, where I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, no. This movie, Candyman.
Hello everyone, we're the Continuity Crew. I'm Will.
Hi.
That's when, and we're back with another episode of the Big Feature Film Podcast. Today we're doing Candyman, directed by Nia DaCosta, executive producer and writer, Jordan Peele. You might know him.
Probably.
But this is like, I'm pretty sure if my lore is correct, it's direct sequel from the original 1992 Candyman. Ignoring the other ones, because I haven't seen the older ones, to be fair.
The older ones either. I mean, there's only one, the 1992
there's
one.
Three.
There's three?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But it's just follows the Candyman legend and this, what's something green?
I don't remember. I'll look up his name.
It's in Chicago, though.
Or a few days ago. So.
But
Anthony McCoy. Oh, wait, you're talking about something else.
No. I was talking about Neeby Green, Sheeby Green.
And like, are you talking about the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Something green. Well, it was shot in Chicago. It took place in Chicago. Can't remember where it was. It's somewhere around there. But yeah, it follows the legend of Candyman. If you've seen the older ones, I'm sure you're already familiar with Candyman. But for those who aren't, the movie kind of takes place as if as if like the older versions didn't exist.
Yeah, it didn't exist. Like, no, you don't know like the legend of Candyman. The whole thing of saying his name 5 times into the reflection.
Yeah,
which I ain't gonna do it.
I did. Didn't work.
Damn.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we're not in Chicago. That's why.
That's probably true.
So this movie, what'd you think of it?
When we got out of the theater, I was kind of also like, I saw a bunch of reviews and a bunch of them were talking about how it was political. I definitely didn't like that part. There was a lot of like, this was definitely an allegory for the whole system or whatever you want to call it. I didn't really
gentrification.
Yeah,
and it's all mentioned in the movie. It's very blatant with it. Yeah. And since it was blatant, honestly, I didn't take it too much into account. I'm like, okay, it knows what it's doing. It's just doing it. I don't really care. Just kind of took it as is. Didn't really take it as like, I was just looking at it more as a horror movie than like this message they're trying to give. And even though it wasn't that scary,
it wasn't.
I will say, coming out of the theater, I was very disappointed.
Fair enough.
I was just so excited for this movie. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to come out probably late 2019, maybe like October. And so it's been pushed back a lot. And but I think the issue was I've seen probably every trailer they put out. And it's like, I was just waiting for the next moment from the trailer. I was like, all right, let's just hit all the bases. And I don't know if I was waiting for it. It was just like, I've just seen like this entire movie. It's not a long movie.
You see it over and over enough that you feel like you've already seen the movie.
It's like an hour 30. And it's like, well, once you see one scene, you're like, okay, I see how this scene might come into play. So
this really reminds me of what? Do you remember Malcolm and Marie? I mean, that's probably one of our best performing videos.
Yeah, the trailer. Go watch it.
Malcolm and Marie mentioned, John David Washington's character mentioned something about how there's really like nothing meaningful about it. It's just a movie that they just wanted to make something out of it, and people are just overreacting to it a little bit. I kind of agree with him in that, like in that regard.
For this?
Not in this in particular. This one was very blatant.
Well, yes, but I feel like, I don't know.
But they did mention the whole thing though, where it's like, yeah, there's gonna be these white people, or because the whole gentrification, all that
Yeah.
stuff. There's gonna be these white people who reviews black artists and all that stuff, and they're probably gonna do all this stuff, and they're gonna say all this shit about them, and it's probably gonna be more about politics and what they actually just wanted to make a movie.
Yeah.
So I think in this movie, however, I think it's very blatant, and I kind of disconnected myself from. I tried to disconnect myself from while watching it. That's why I kind of liked it. But now the more I think about it, it is very much.
I will say, I think, so you and I both have not seen the original ones, and I saw some people saying that like, oh, like they have to make everything political now, and apparently the original one is essentially the same, like the message they're trying to give, which would totally make sense. And so a bunch of people were just making fun of it. Like, it was just one specific video. They were like, oh, they've got to bring race into everything now. And I was like, I guess you didn't see the first one, so
I do understand why people are kind of giving this a bad review because of the whole politics thing. It's the whole climate now, and it really does feel like it when artists tend. They mentioned this in the movie when artists tend to use like the whole
and I felt like that was such a meta type comic. It's like, okay, you know what you're doing, but it's not gonna stop you, so they're just gonna go for it.
That's the whole thing about this movie, is that I really think that it's not right in that regard, where it's like, it's okay for us to do it because we're mentioning it in the movie. I still do think that way, but it is kind of part of the culture, and technically they are right. It is a big part of it. I want to disconnect myself from the politics of this movie. Just wanted to mention that first part.
Yeah.
But overall,
I will say I wish it was more violent.
Me too.
I feel like in the trailer they literally showed all the good stuff. And
they did.
Like, this kind of is one, because honestly I felt like the first trailer showed too much. Like, it showed the climax of the movie.
It did.
And that's one thing about trailers. They need to stop showing the last fucking like 20 minutes of the movie. Just stop.
It does get annoying.
Yeah.
It bothers me.
Well, I had like never noticed it until recently. I was like, wow, they really just like, that was the last like 10 minutes. That was the final shot. Why are you putting that in the trailer? Because then it like, for me specifically, I see the trailers a lot in the theaters, and then I'm waiting for that last shot to come, and then I know it's the last shot. I'm like, well, that's stupid.
That reminds me, since we're talking about the trailer, we've talked about trailers. We've seen so many movies, and we've seen so many trailers.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of getting to the point where it's really annoying at this point, where it's like you're just sitting there. Oh yeah, that trailer again. Oh yeah, she's gonna die. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Oh, we've seen this one before. Hey, but that Jackass trailer gets me every time.
Fair enough. That's the only trailer where I give it a pass, where I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, no. This movie, Candyman.
What's some pros for Candyman for you? Because I have a few. I wanted to know if you have any.
I like the performances.
Yes.
I always gravitate towards the performances when it comes to horror movies, because like that's where you really like disconnect from the movie, besides the whole fantasy part of the movie. The performances were great. I felt like it connected with the character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can sort of somewhat, not really, but really relate to the character. That whole artistic integrity type
I'm not
deal.
the most artsy person, but even I was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah, you have the understanding.
Yeah.
You understand what's going on. I like the performances. I like the cinematography. That's also one of the primary things that I look at. The cinematography, and then the sound. It was great. The writing was kind of all right. There were times when I was just like, I don't think you should have said that.
Yeah, I'm like, that's either like too meta or too like, are just too cringe.
It feels unnatural.
There was a couple lines. I can't think of anything specific, but there's definitely ones in there. But yes. Back to what you said about the cinematography. I just like thinking about the movie. I saw a bunch of stills on Twitter and stuff. I'm like, man, that was a really good shot. And one specific scene in general what had with the movie critic in the bathroom and stuff. I thought that was just so cool and how it was done. I'm like, I really like that. It actually, some of the stuff actually reminded me of like Ari Aster stuff, like Hereditary and Midsummer, but like kind of a little twist on it. So I really liked that.
That scene in that hallway with the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
That entire time I was like, that is CGI.
Oh, there was
floating.
There was a lot of like that. The CGI was not good. Like,
it wasn't great, but it wasn't very obvious. It was obvious to us because that's something we're kind of used to at this point.
But like there was one the first time he like kills, he cuts that like projector screen.
Yeah.
Why was that like CGI? I just don't understand. And it looked so thick. It looked like it was like the screen was like this thick when it was just probably like supposed to be this thick.
I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe like realistically that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean maybe they just didn't want to have to. It wasn't they tried it realistically and it wasn't falling like they wanted to, so they just did it
that does
way.
tend to happen.
Yeah, it's like,
I will say some of the kills on this was pretty good. I liked some of them.
I wish they showed more, but yes, the kills were very good.
Comparing to what is that movie that we just saw? Old,
Yes.
Comparing to Old, this was definitely way better.
I would agree
because I think you have a better understanding of what's going on, except you don't really have that blatancy from Too Many Races.
Empty. The top review is empty, bored, too many racism.
Great production with a key script, very slow pace, and a very poor approach. Behind in the same story of the white man. Yeah, that is something that I've been bothered by more recently.
I will say, like, I get that's again the message, but I feel like some movies don't, like, all the cops in the indie kill, spoiler, are white, which I get is the message, but I feel like other movies do it and it's like, well, I don't know, it maybe it was a little too forced, but also like I feel like I shouldn't be complaining because Jordan Peele is behind it and like
that is his shtick,
that is his,
he's good at that. But the thing is, like, I do feel as if that they're just attacking white people now at this point, and I'm kind of uncomfortable with that because you don't fight fire with fire, you fight it with water. You slowly gently get into it.
Did you see Nia? She's gonna be directing Captain Marvel 2.
Cool.
So
good for her.
This gave me, I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. Like, I liked how you directed it. I don't know how I felt about the movie entirely, but direction was good. So
the direction to me was like,
well,
it was really strange. Like, there were some things that I was kind of like, I don't think you should have done that. Like the whole mirror scene, and like the whole elevator scene. I thought that was like
the elevator scene. I wish it just could have been done differently. For some reason, I was just like, this just. I don't know. It felt like maybe because it was in the trailer, and that's why I'm saying that. But
it's very predictable.
Yeah.
Overall. What's her name? The girl, the girlfriend or the wife, I guess.
The actress Vanessa Williams.
Her character name. What's her name again?
Anne.
Yeah, I felt like she didn't do anything in this movie.
Yeah, she was just kind of there. I mean, every movie, like I say, I always get mad about it, like the love interest bullshit that they have to have in a movie, or it's
like something that's added. It's fine to add her in there, but then they added her brother.
Yeah,
and I thought he was also kind of useless. There's a whole conflict where it's like, you should have chosen this apartment. You know, you should have just gone to whatever I want to choose or whatever. I thought that was really they shouldn't have added that in there, but they want to hit all the hallmarks.
Yeah, exactly.
Of, like what white people don't like, I guess. That's a joke. I'm just joking. Please don't hurt me.
The cinematographer hasn't really done anything like huge. Like, I'm surprised how well it looked or good it looked. So that's cool.
I don't know. There were some poor choices in there for sure. There was one in particular where he was coming out of the apartment in the very beginning scene. He was coming out of the apartment with the clothes and stuff like that. I thought like that white shot was just.
I see what you're saying,
it's
but
not,
a lot of the stuff made up for, like, I'm like, I'll just give it a pass because that shot was like really cool, and so, or all the little puppeteer stuff. I really like that.
I wish they
did more of it because honestly, but also, so I think honestly my biggest con in this movie is the freaking laundromat guy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what? It doesn't make sense.
Was he in previous movies? Is that?
I don't think so. He was literally just like, I don't know. He's just, as a character, is just dumb.
He kind of sort of makes sense now because now that I know that there's like previous movies.
Mm-hmm.
But for this movie just alone, it is kind of weird. Oh yeah, he was in no, I saw him in something else. I don't remember what it was. Was he in
Same.
Zola? No, he wasn't in Zola.
No, I mean, he does kind of look like that guy, though. No, he was.
Yeah, it was Zola. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I've seen him from.
Yeah.
No, this character, he just knows everything for some reason.
And is
He's
he like? I can't tell if he's like
a follower.
Yeah, like is he good? Is he bad? Like, are we supposed to root for this guy? Because again, spoiler alert. Like he ends up, I guess, kidnapping
Anthony
and like
turning him to
literally makes him into Candyman because it's like, oh, it has to happen. And like it turns out that Anthony was like this kid that was stolen from this woman who, like, I guess got possessed by Candyman or did, I don't know. She just went crazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so like somehow he was connected to it. Again, maybe we have to see the original ones. I don't think so, to be honest. But it's just
maybe there was a character like him in the previous movie that was kind of the same way.
Yeah,
where he was telling the story.
Well, I want to watch the original, so maybe in a week I'll be like, oh, okay, now.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, but he's in this movie, he still doesn't make sense.
I took a second to get used to, but like the backwards like sky view, like it took a second to get used to. I was like, this is kind of giving me vertigo, but I was also like, no, like this is really cool. I like and I don't necessarily like how they did all the intro things backwards. I'm like, oh, I get it. It's a mirror. But you and me, I both were like, is this right?
I know.
Is this
it
right?
Was like it was broken.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
The story to me was just, I felt like it was falling apart or there was something missing.
You know,
like everything else. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really good. And like,
it felt like they need to pick a lane that they wanted to go with.
Well, it was really good in Act 1 and 2, but then Act 3 just starts falling apart when you get to the point where he's like turning into Candyman. Oh yeah, spoiler! He turns into who the fuck cares?
Well, that's one thing about it. It's like it doesn't stay in a lane. Like, are we supposed to? Okay, he's becoming Candyman. Do we care about like his girlfriend's like past because her dad had killed herself? Do we care about like the brother, like, or this laundromat guy? Like, what do we care about, and where are we going with it? Because it just, I felt like for the whole hour 30 minutes I don't know, I just felt lost.
Yeah. That's fair. I when he was talking about the area, the location, the projects, if you will, when he was talking about that, I was really lost at the fact that like, why isn't there people here?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like, maybe it served the story. I didn't really read into much.
Cabrini Green.
Yeah. Maybe I didn't look into the story all that much, or like I didn't look into it too much. But when I was seeing that, I was like, I'm really confused now. Why is there no people here? And if there were, because he mentioned the laundromat guy, he mentioned that the ones that are left, they have to fend for themselves or whatever. It didn't feel like there was anyone else there. All this shit was going down, but no one else came out of the background or anything like that. So that took me away from it. I felt like if there was like numbers of people, maybe this would have been more effective. Like the ending would have been more effective, because then people get to witness, they get to watch it, and then like people would be like, "Oh yeah, that's bad," and all this stuff. He just did that. Oh yeah, the ending also. They shouldn't have ended it that way.
It felt like
they just sat in the car and he was just like, "This is what's gonna happen."
So I had seen that shot in the trailer, or I noticed it, and I'm like, is that really how this is gonna end? Like, she's gonna say his name and save her from the cops. I'm like, is that really how this is gonna end? Because again, it's like it's weird because it's not really the love interest stuff because he's Candyman, but it also is because that's like your girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever they are. it's just it felt weird. I don't know if it was just if she was a different character, like not romantically together, I would I would have cared maybe a little more. Otherwise, I'm like, well, this is just cliche. I feel like we gotta watch at least the first one.
I want to watch it again also.
Yeah,
because this just feels like
it's a short watch. I will say it's if you like horror movies in general, I'd say it's worth your time. It's short, so like it's definitely not the best horror movie that's come out in the past like month. So
and because it's stuck in my head, this very much reminds me of Bye Bye Man, except it's better.
I haven't seen Bye Bye Man.
You haven't seen the Bye Bye Man?
I heard it's really
so bad.
There's one on HBO Max that I need to watch because I remember seeing the trailer. The Empty Man.
The Empty Man?
Yeah.
Never heard of that one.
Neither have I. Well, I saw the trailer. Did the trailer for Antler? No. So I went and saw Night House, and this movie called Antlers is the trailer for it played, and then I remember it a while ago. Looks really fucking cool. It's a horror movie. It's got Jesse Plemons, so
of course
I'm in.
Yeah.
But back to Candyman.
Overall, this movie was
Overall, yes, I would agree. Is the best I can do. Like critically rating out of 10 as we wrap this up, I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it a 5. To be honest, it's right down the middle. It's nothing incredibly awful. It's short enough that I'm like, man, when are we getting out of this theater? Like it was pretty enough to. I was like, okay, and
I like the way it looked.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I'm just so tired of hearing like white people did this, white people do that, police do this, police do that. I'm just kind of tired of hearing that kind of thing because like, that's so negative and it's so effectively hateful in a way. It makes you really think. It's like
not and like to play kind of devil's advocate with that. I guess with the first one, like us not seeing it, we probably should have seen that coming if we had seen the first one, and Jordan Peele even being attached to it. So
yeah, but like sometimes I just want to watch like a good horror film.
Yeah,
and
I would agree.
This was definitely because it's like it's fogged up by the whole police thing and the whole politics side of it. So admittedly, I like the way it looked.
But it's got a great review on Rotten Tomatoes.
But it does. There's a bunch of negative ones. Like the top ones are like 5s or 6. So I mean that is the average, but still, yeah. If you're into horror movies, you'll probably like it. I'm gonna say it's better than Don't Breathe 2. So I'm sure.
Don't Breathe 2. It's very similar to where for Act 1, Act 2, it's pretty solid. Act 3, just in the shitter, and it was. But Night House was pretty good. The Rebecca Hall one. Maybe we need to do, or we could do Instagrams for this.
Yeah, I wish they hadn't advertised it too much.
Yeah, I feel like it got over advertised.
It did. And then like the whole damn hive line, I thought that was like
Candyman's the whole damn hive. Yeah.
Cool line.
Yeah.
Very annoying once you see it like 10 times. Candyman's not a he. He's a whole damn hive.
But like enjoyment rating, I'll give it like a 7 because it was short enough.
6. It did. They should have taken up the whole R rating. Like
yes, I would agree.
Spectrum. There's like the James Gunn R rating, and then there's like whatever else was the R rating.
Yeah. The ones where they just say twice.
Yeah, pretty much. So they should have taken advantage of
a little
the
bit
whole R
more.
rating.
I would agree.
Like make it more visceral. Make it worse for if you really want to have an effective like bad like narrative about politics and all that stuff. Make it more violent.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of what they should have totally done that because like his art is kind of that whole thing of it is violent. So
cool art though.
Yeah,
I don't like the whole pop. I don't like the whole like the now popular culture art kind of thing where it's like, it's just a dot and a thing or something, and Supreme just puts a name on everything in their brand. So it's different from that. And you know what? There's a lot of story there, and there's a lot of stories in that art in the movie. So
yeah, I really liked them. It was good stuff. But
the
anyways,
whole damn hive.
The whole damn Candyman, the whole damn hive. Anyways, though, that's been our big feature film podcast for this week. It is a little late, but it came out. So I meant to say that in the top of the episode. We've been the Continuity Crew. I'm Will.
I win.
That's when. And like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank y'all for watching. We love movies. We love y'all. And we'll see you on the next one, which should be Beckett.
Yep.
Go watch.
It's the whole damn hive.
The whole damn hive.
All right. Good night.